So I guess, first of all, thank you all for accepting, I guess, the invitation to offering your time to come and speak here today, because certainly we are well vested and invested in the Cardano network from a stake pool operator perspective. First of all, I just want to give an opportunity for everyone to introduce themselves and I guess to outline anything in particular from your pool, any focuses, anything that you like to do. So please begin.
Thank you very much. As you all already know, my name is Martin. I am the founder of Andromeda Way, as you can see from the logo there. It's a startup marketing and creative agency that focuses particularly on Cardano. And I'm also a stake pool operator. And the stake pool is part of a big alliance, the second one in size in the Cardano community, which is the XSPO Alliance. Woo! For the XSPO Alliance, yeah. I want to just say a few words about the Alliance, because it's one of the reasons I'm here. So the XSPO, X is the extra small stake pool operators. So the Alliance is focusing on the small stake pool operators, and you can all participate in a few ways. Like, you have an option to be a member of the Alliance. So the first option is to be an official member if you have a stake pool. And then there's this rule that you have to have less than 1 million ADA stake to the pool to participate as an official member to the XSPO Alliance. And you have to love the decentralization. That's one of the main goals. And a very important thing, very important rule, that you have to be a single pool operator. You cannot be a multi-pool operator. So then you can be an official member of the XSPO Alliance. And the other two options are kind of more relaxed ones. So we can participate as a delegator to the XSPO Alliance. We have this process going on, which is rotation delegation. So we pick a pool. There is a schedule for that, so we pick a pool, and every member of the alliance are staking to that pool in that particular time. So this is a way that we have, and we use to spin up the pools and make them active and create their first blocks and give them the starting point to go forward. And the third option is to be an ally to the XSPO Alliance, which is kind of the only one rule there. You have to love the decentralization, and this is it. This is the ways that you can participate in the alliance. And we have a Discord server, which is with over 700 members now. From there, 400 members are the official members with small stake pools. And we have weekly meetings every Sunday. We gather, we talk about everything, actually, not only Cardano. We can have discussions from holidays to technical problems that someone has. So yeah, basically that's it for the XSPO and about me. Thank you.
Yeah, so me again. So I'm a stake pool operator of Shift Pool. We started the pool, me and a friend of mine who is literally the technology geek in this, in September 2021, really at the start of the Cardano Forest project, and we literally got into it in order to do environmental work. And we are now in it for 2 years. We are calling ourselves a climate positive pool. We have literally offset our whole emissions in the beginning of when we started the pool. We are running our pool on renewable energy, on servers, cloud servers in Germany and Finland. And we are trying to figure out various aspects of climate change. And I think as many people here have gotten into blockchain through, for example, Bitcoin, we very early on we're very interested to work on something low impact. We did some research on the impact of Bitcoin, and I don't want to go too much on it, but Cardano is slightly better in terms of environmental impact. That's why we are on the Cardano blockchain specifically. But then again, We are doing this because we want the whole blockchain to become greener and a solution, and particularly because probably everyone has watched Charles Hoskinson's video initially on bringing something to Africa, a solution, and rather than being a problem for particularly Africa and poorer countries. So I think that's why we're here. That's why we love to be in the community. We have started and we have been a founding member of Climate Neutral Cardano. And literally, I have to be honest, most of my time is spent on Climate Neutral Cardano and very little time is spent on Shift Pool directly. But I think it's my opportunity to make a difference for the community. However, it doesn't help if I don't spend my time on marketing on the pool. So I'm very representative for these very small pools, even after 2 years, with having problems to reach any significant amount, even though we do a lot of work for the community. So yeah, marketing is not my strength, but I think the important thing is that we are doing meaningful work, and it would be lovely to have more people who love marketing, who kind of love communicating, because marketing is not always a good word for that, communicating what we do together. So, and I believe there are really very, very many people in the Cardano community that can help and come together there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris from Upstream. We're a group of friends initially who set up our stake pool with the intention really of trying to bring some value to our local community in setting up community events. It started off as social events, which I'm glad to see so many faces here that we've met over the last few years through these events as well, but we're lucky enough to host the summit in London last year. The CIP workshop this summer, which was amazing. I'm not going to lie, I'm not the most technical person in our group. Then some of the guys in here will probably laugh because they know exactly what I mean by that. But I was lucky enough to be involved with the CIP workshop. Me and Mark were invited up to Edinburgh with a number of other people here as well to put the views and the opinions of our local community across. And it was amazing really to see such a diverse group of people with such varying opinions on it as well. It's quite interesting to see other people's opinions from their point of view. You know, it's quite easy to take your own point of view and put that first, but to see the input from others was really, really quite special. And yeah, we come together really to put on these events so that people can come together, build the connections that help grow the network. We're very proud to see, I know we've got people who have built connections here through some of these social events that we've done. And it's really good to see those projects sort of flourish and develop as they grow along. Just to say, also very proud members of CNC Alliance and XSPO as well. But yeah, if you need anything at all, grab one of our team. There's a fair few of us here today. Grab one of us and we're more than happy to answer any questions.
Hi, I'm John from Fluid Pool. I've been running my pool for a couple of years now, 2.5, and been along to the social events here, so very grateful for this team. Upstream do a great job for certainly the UK community. Thanks again. I've loved Cardano since I started to get involved. I was inspired by Charles Hoskinson's whiteboard video, as so many others were, and the aspects of it that really grabbed me were the potential for sort of rebalancing the human experience across the globe. So very much like, you know, Christian's ethos is a chance to make a difference here, whether that's in the climate or in just the lives of people around the world. And so I set out with the intent of contributing to the sort of mission side of Cardano, and got involved in Project Catalyst heavily as well, which is the largest innovation fund in the world, I think, and know several people from there, so very enthusiastic about that. But that sort of led me, I run a web development agency, and I wanted to sort of migrate it into Web3 development and really producing, leveraging the value storage that's so drastic that can change our experience. And so worked in producing a stake pool off the back of that, because we host websites, and so it's a natural progression to then start providing infrastructure. And then that led to getting involved with the Extra Stake Pool, Small Stake Pool Alliance as well, So I'm an early member of that and contribute to the rotating delegation. And really it's been a path of just learning about more and more ways you can get involved, be active, whether that's in mission activity, in networking, just in creating a social network of really, like, surround yourself with the brightest of minds and you can find them in the Cardano network. Or whether that's getting involved in governance and making, new decision-making methods that can really change how we make decisions as a society, rather than just on, top-down politics. We actually get grassroots stuff going. And so, yeah, if you stake with Fluid Pool, the mission is that I will donate a day's worth of access to ICT and telecoms for an Ethiopian village. And I sort of brought that in along with a charitable donation platform called B1G1, who I really like. I want to sort of get involved in the Cardano community more and to really sort of help us start to gather the metrics around the impact that we're making, very much like CNC Alliance. So, tracking sustainable development goals that all our money is making off the back of the stake pools, and also, just ways that we can bring charitable giving as well as, impact to people's lives just from our investment activity. Because I think that's the real drastic thing, is that we don't have to lose money when we're participating in charity anymore. We can actually earn from that activity, which is, it's flipping it on its head, which is really great. So, yeah, do check us out. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Øystein Hansen. I'm from Norway, and it's so amazing to see the London community and how you guys are growing and flourishing. And we had the fortune of having Lally McClay visit us during one of the workshops. I also work for the Cardano Nordic community, NADA Alliance, and we have hosted some workshops. So that was really great. So we figured we return the favor and come to London a trip. But yeah, a little bit about me, and as you can see, I have the staking pool Ada Nord Pool. It has a long history. It started back in the ITN days, and was basically from the start I was interested in governance. So I was part of the Guardians of Cardano. We did some things with the CF back in the days, for anyone who knows that history. And I'm quite active in Catalyst and all these things. I met John several times. So. We're working on some governance projects as well. I have some articles with Kenrick Nelson, for some of those who know him. The pool was actually acquired, so I'm currently the operator, not the owner of the pool. And I did this because I found an exchange that actually had a heart that cared. Norwegian Block Exchange, that's where I currently work. I am working as head of staking. It's publicly listed, and it also has proof of reserve, so you can verify not trust, and you can verify not only the reserves on the blockchain, you can also go and look in the public and look at the listings, what we actually have in our accounting as well. So that's my best advice when you go to exchange, is to actually verify, not only trust. And it has a heart. We donated to charity. One of the first things we did after I joined is we did a project in Norway. We donated part of it, the whole Norwegian community, donated a total of 1 Bitcoin to a hospital, child hospital. And the pool had history of donating before that as well. And I can safely say, as long as I'm head of staking at Norwegian Block Exchange, we will also be supporting decentralization, and we will not have hundreds of pools. We will find ways to collaborate with the community. So yeah, that's the short version. Thank you.
Thank you. A key thing I wanted to point out from all of those things is how strong the Cardano community is. Anyone who's operating a pool, and if you just hold ADA and you stake, you're an invested part of that community. So thank you, and I feel like Cardano, more than any other blockchain, really emphasizes the idea of decentralization and really tries to push that forward and embody that. So. Yeah, that's my 50 pence worth for that. So we have some questions. I'm eager for you guys to have a conversation amongst yourselves. There will be an opportunity for questions at the end after I've asked these guys some questions. So if anything pops in your mind, please feel free to note that down, and I'll ask if anyone wants to ask those questions. The first one, and by all means, anyone who wants to answer first, feel free. I would like to get everybody's take on the recent changes to the minimum pool fee and the increase to the K parameter, and how does this affect your pool and the whole Cardano network?
Actually, we wrote an article about this on NorwegianBlockExchange.com, and we were supportive of the change. We both supported the min fee reduction and the K increase, so to have over 1,000 pools. The main thing for me about Cardano is how inclusive it is. And that's the huge strength of it, because with liquid staking, you have the possibility for anyone to be a staking pool operator and anyone to delegate and move the delegation quickly. And the short version of the whole quite long article is that as long as the network can handle it, and I believe we have enough staking pool operators who are ready, who can do the technical performance very well, and we will have good block propagation times, then yeah, we should be as decentralized as possible. That's what differentiates us from some of the other blockchains that have huge transaction numbers, but they are not decentralized. And for me, that's what a real blockchain is all about, is because that's how you remove the trust. That's how you don't need the middleman. So yeah, the short version of it is we are very much for it. We would hope that you would do both at the same time. I know there's been some arguments that you should first do the min fee and then see the scientific data for it, then do the K parameter change. That's probably why they're doing it. But I am actually more excited about the K equal 1,000, because the idea is then that will allow more of the smaller pools, for example, to have higher rankings in Daedalus because of how saturation works. And maybe more people will have some incentives to move to smaller pools, and we are supportive of that.
Yeah, I could just say it's well worth making pools and the benefit of joining a pool more equal. I think that's probably a big help. And with, we got to the maximum of about 3,500 stake pool operators, all capable of running the infrastructure, then encouraging that number to to be economically viable, bringing that metric of K down to up to 1,000, so that we've got 1,000 viable pools rather than just the 500 we have at the moment, I think is a good thing, because we've obviously got the intent in the stake pool operator community. So let's support as many pools to be viable as possible. And the more options you have, the more decentralized, the less coercible, less manipulatable we are. I love the fact that we've got so many different accents just on a panel in London. It's brilliant. So yeah, more decentralized the better. And I think that increasing K and reducing the min fee is a good move. Hopefully the min fee won't be such a big impact when the price of ADA rises in the next bull run. So yeah.
I kind of agree with all you said already. I mean, for a small pool like ours, and particularly our impact staking model, the reduction of the minimum pool fee is difficult to swallow. If you have not yet, if you work on environmental things and you're not spending all your time on Twitter trying to get those delegation. As I said before, I mean, our pool is 2 years in. I think we have done reasonably good work, but it's difficult to get stakers, delegators, if you don't spend every day on Twitter or communicating the basic things, but you work on projects instead, which also take an awful lot of time. So you have to make a judgment call. Now, because we donate, for example, 25% of our income, now if we reduce it's a 340 minimum fee, that has an impact on our donations, because we literally are struggling from block to block. However, in the long run, of course, you think you want to get over that, you want to get to your delegators, and then that doesn't matter. And then there's the other aspect: if you have a lower minimum fee, you might get a better rating, but I don't think that will make any difference, to be honest, in my opinion. delegators have been very immovable. I've noticed. We've everyone probably knows how many retired pools there are, and you still have millions of ADA in there, whereas smaller pools who are not out there maybe as much or visible as much, but do good work, don't get any delegators. It's like banking. People put their money in once, especially in the bear market. People are not that excited, so probably change. But in the bear market, they just leave it there as long as they make a bit of return. We noticed there are a couple of people who move their ADA at a couple of cents here, more and there. So you can't win with that when you are a small pool. The K parameter, I think, is very important because of decentralization, and also because it just helps break down, creating more viability to more pools. Even though, of course, we have many more pools right now than the K parameter supports as well. But I do, there's always this kind of challenge between big pool operators and then whether or not they break things down and create multiples to have enough income. And I think there's that whole discussion being totally independent and small stake pool and so forth, and then maybe having a reasonable income so you can actually do stuff. But that argument completely falls apart when Cardano is at $4, $10, versus now, 20p, where you basically are in minus on a constant basis. So that needs to be adjusted. But I think K is really important. And you probably, from the masses of Cardano stake pools, you probably get most support for that because most stake pools don't have that much in cash in there or that much delegation. And I would argue that not necessarily, if you have in my opinion, is if you have a large, very well bestowed stake pool, that is maybe a historical reason. Some people have been there from the beginning. They deserve it. They're still in it fully, but it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how good they are in terms of creating something for the stake pool alliance. In my opinion, again, you can argue about that. It has down to what you do. Are you running a YouTube channel? Which is very important for Cardano as well. So again, but it depends on what you do. You almost know whether or not you're getting delegators. And do you want to sell your soul to just do the marketing, the selling, and so forth? And maybe as a stake pool operator, you need to onboard new people. You want to kind of explain people how a wallet works, because actually it should be part of your job. But maybe then you should think about what projects you are working on. Maybe a stake pool operator is not for everyone. But I don't know what the job description is for a stake pool operator. We haven't really defined one. So I think we're working on that. So I'm looking forward to Cardano and Voltaire, particularly because of the governments that will, I think, make a huge impact on the world, literally.
So from our perspective, it's I think it's potentially going to be a bit difficult here. Like the minimum pool fee overall is a good idea in my opinion, because it will help to make the smaller pools a bit more, help them bring them up the scale a bit and help them come up against some of the bigger pools. The problem that we will have is being in quite an expensive part of the world. It is actually quite expensive to run the pools, especially when you're running off of cloud-based infrastructure. A positive that's come out of this, though, is it has definitely helped us streamline what we're doing. And I think when times are difficult, you can start to actually find some solutions to those problems. When times are a bit easier, you just plod along because it's easy, it's doable, and you're there. I think there are options in place. There is the bare metal setup, which I know personally would save us a lot in our operating costs, and is certainly something that we are looking at to sort of try and implement and also keep us competitive with the rest of the stake pool market, really. And then we have other tools that are being developed. We are still relatively young in this space. I think that's what quite a lot of us who are involved sort of forget sometimes, that we are involved, we're putting a lot of effort in, we feel like we've been here for a long time, but actually this is still very young. It's a very immature sort of market. The majority of people, normal people, still don't know much about it at all. Things like Atrium, the guys who are UK-based projects, we met them up in Scotland, they're producing staking baskets. So a whole group of stake pools can come together and they will help pick up an element of the marketing, for example, which as the industry grows, as it matures, these are going to become more accessible to everyone. I think really that's when the small pools really are going to start to see a little bit more growth and a little bit more, and the bull market, let's not forget that. Obviously, bear markets are hard, and that's where we are at the moment. But yeah, no, it's K parameter change will be interesting. That's one I'm forward to see. Looking forward to seeing. I think that would definitely help the smaller pools more. It's just that balancing act at the moment. It's a difficult one to bring, to sort of implement these changes. It's never going to be smooth, is it? It's always going to take a little while of some choppy seas and until people sort of like find their level and manage to balance it out again. But yeah, we're optimistic. We're optimistic for the future for sure.
Although I agree with all of these things that the panelists said, I'd like to think of in more broader aspect of this problem with the parameters. And nowadays we don't call this Cardano blockchain. We call it Cardano ecosystem, right? So if it is an ecosystem, it's a system that is preserving itself. It's self-sustained. So when you have a self-sustained system, you have all these parts inside, and you have all this environment outside, and everything else is just affecting this system. So when you have an ecosystem, it's a very big risk to change something inside or outside in the environment very rapidly or drastically, because this means that something inside the system could break. So if we think of that narrative, I want to say, like, to tell you an example. If you are, like, the human body is kind of an ecosystem of itself, right? So you go, let's say you want to go on to the beach in the first day of a summer, and it's very hot and the water is still cold though. So you're rushing inside with your body very warm, and you get 1,000 swords that are cutting your, like, this is the feeling, like, they're cutting your body because it's the environment outside is changing your reality very rapidly. So the change is very drastic. So something can break. So if you get that analogy to the Cardano ecosystem, I believe that things have to change because the world is changing. So we have to adapt to that, of course. The parameters are there for that, most of them, to be adopted. But they have to be changed slowly, gradually, and we have to monitor what is happening. And if something bad happens, we may need to return back the value to the original one. So if we do that, we decrease the risk of breaking something. So if you ask my opinion, yes, of course, I believe that it will be very good for the K parameter to go up. But my opinion is it shouldn't go drastically from 500 to 1,000 or to drop drastically. So we have to, like, gradually increase it, and we monitor the system. And if everything is okay, then it's all good, right? That's my opinion.
I'd like to just respond. I think I agree. That, I think, gets to the heart of the scientific aspect of Cardano, which Cardano has a base in. You know, it started out with, there's even in Edinburgh, you know, there are research institutions who are looking at how this is evolving. There are papers out there. And so I believe that it's reasonably good managed. I have a scientific background as well, so I fully agree, just changing one parameter at a time. But it's difficult to say, because I think changing these parameters in a bear market is probably going to have a different effect. So you might almost want to have to return it at certain stages and see what happens, and repeat that 3 times at least, you know, to get a statistical relevance. And you do the same thing with minimum fees and so forth. And I think we need to do that and then communicate it to the stake pool community and to the general community, and then move forward. And so I think there's a lot of work to be done. I agree with that. And I think that goes with the Cardano way to do the research properly. And that means only changing one parameter, although it's an ecosystem, so we are never going to change just one parameter, because everything around changes. So it's always going to be difficult, but let's do it that way, absolutely.
I really like this discussion. But at the end of it, it's the game theory, but what we have shown as a community is we are also very inventive. We did the ISPO model, and I think with this min fee, what we'll see is that some pools will not drop to the minimum, I think we'll also see that some pools will invent ways to earn income other ways. For example, you can currently with Palmyra, you can do vouchers, and you can do that as a SPO on Cardano. Midnight might open some possibilities for SPOs on Cardano as an extra income. I really love what I see with the CNC Alliance, like to add more value in other ways like that. That's also a fantastic model. So yes, I also have a scientific background. I used to work as an educational psychologist, and I really respect to investigate the data. But when it comes to this game theory, we really just have to try it and look at the data, what happens, because it's a living organism, as you pointed out. Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. I know certainly something that I picked up on there with regards to the minimum pool fee is how, from an overall network point of view, you think it would be a positive with regards to supporting the whole idea of decentralization, but from an individual operator point of view, especially in a bear market, it could definitely have its challenges. And there's it's going to be ongoing conversation and collaboration, I guess, amongst the whole community about how we manage that and how we balance that. Because obviously we want the whole reason a lot of us got into crypto was the idea of decentralization and being more responsible and accountable for our own finances and having more of a say around that. But obviously, if smaller pools will struggle to operate and maybe stay afloat, then there's a challenge there. And I definitely think conversation and like this is key, and things like the CIP workshop and governance voting and bits and pieces like that are so important. So it's an ongoing case of sort of live problem solving almost. We can't really go into like a test environment. We need to try it as we keep going. So there's a definite challenge there, and you know, I've no doubt that we'll all come through the other side, and this time next year we'll all be wondering what we were worried about. So, yeah, absolutely. So my next question is with regards to the challenges of attracting potential stakers as a smaller pool. I mean, we Upstream, we're incredibly fortunate that we've got 6 of us who can be working on this. But a lot of you guys are literal single pool operators, and this is just yourselves, or there might be 2 of you. So, what challenges have you seen in growing your pools and the ability to attract potential stakers? What are the main challenges you've had around that?
So, as a stake pool operator, the challenges of attracting delegators is big, because you have the technical knowledge, you create the stake pool, and then the problem comes. You need to do the marketing thing to show why the people need to stake with you. So I think the question is how to attract delegators, right? So every stake pool operator wants the answer to that question, how to attract delegators. But actually, I want to ask you, maybe I can address the audience. Why do you think that we ask that question, how to attract delegators? Or the panelists, of course. Why do you think we ask that question, how to attract delegators?
Because we want to do better. We want to attract more delegates.
Yeah, but why?
To grow the pool really, and put ourselves in a good footing to keep moving forward. It's these parts of the market. It's always going to be hard. You're looking at new people coming in really to be able to. Personally, I believe for the smallest pools to be able to grow, we're looking for new people coming into Cardano, into the ecosystem. It's hard to grab stake from large pools that are established and are doing right by their delegators. That's the difficulty, I think, is having enough available stake to go around to everyone that is interested and capable of running stake pools, essentially. But it is difficult. I'm going to say exactly the same thing. Anyone who came to the summit last year, I'm pretty sure my answer for this will be pretty much the same. Marketing is difficult. If you're not a natural born seller, marketer, it's really hard. But as I said on the last point, these tools are becoming more prevalent now. Things like the alliances, It's a good way for group marketing, for people to come together and market well. And Atrium that we mentioned just now, they are going to hopefully be picking up some of the marketing slack that the smallest pools sort of need the assistance with, really.
I'm really glad that you pointed out that actually we try to divert delegation from bigger pools to the smaller pools, right? That's the thing. So the problem here that we face, but I will get back to that later. The problem here that we face is that decentralization. We try to decentralize more and more the system. That's why we create this XSPO and for the small stake pool operators, etc. So the problem is the decentralization. So my opinion is connected to the first question for the parameters. My opinion is that the IOHK, the company, and the Cardano Foundation, they created Cardano and they gave us these parameters as an option to make the decentralization possible and to decentralize the system even more. So maybe there are more options there for this to be done. So I think that we are a very bright community. I mean, maybe one of the best, if not the best in the world. It's my opinion, definitely. So a lot of bright people here, a lot of intelligent people. So we can try to find more ways of how to help decentralization. About the topic of the challenges and how to attract the delegators, I think we focus too much on that, and it's okay, it's needed. But I think that the question of why do we ask this question is because of money. We want to make money, right? All of us want to make money. So that's there. We have to acknowledge it. It's not something that we should hide from it. So money is one side of the question. But when we acknowledge it, we can put it on the side. We know that the money is there, that we are doing it for that. But if you think of it, we can find a lot of ways to make money outside of Cardano, right? We can find a lot of ways to make money outside of the cryptocurrency space as a whole. So why do, as a stake pool operators, we chose to do stake pools and to make money inside Cardano? It's because of the second reason. And the second reason is that we believe in something, we trust in the network, we trust that this network can actually change the world for the better as a financial system or everything else that is going on. So we trust in this system. And the biggest challenge, I believe, it is to make people outside of the cryptocurrency space, to make these people believe and trust into that system as we do. So we have to educate them more, to get them to know more, to understand that system. And when they understand that system, as we did, they will trust it more. They will believe in it more because it's viable. I mean, it's working, right? We all make it work. So that's my opinion. The biggest challenge is to make people outside of the system to trust that system. And it's a very big challenge. Last year, I was trying to convince my mother that there is a process of having a wallet with funds inside, not give it anywhere, and actually produce and make money on that, like the passive income from the staking, right? And she was trying to compare it with the deposit in a bank and said, okay, it's like something like deposit. Yeah, it is, but in deposit you have to give your money. When you buy shares of a company, you have to give the money. And in staking, you don't give the money. The monies are not locked. You all know this. They are in your wallet. You can use it if you need it for something. But you actually earn. So it's like you put in your money, like our grandmother teaches that put the money behind the bed, and you save it there, and it's there when you grow up, and etc. But now you put the money there, and they are more in a few years. Eh? Yeah, sounds too good to be true. Exactly. But it is. So the challenge is to convince people to trust this network, and this will happen through knowledge and understanding. And it's very difficult because people first need to know terms like what is Cardano, what is blockchain, what is wallet, non-custodial, custodial wallets. And this is the evolution. It's the next step, because people like years back, we used only cash, right? We used cash. Then we have these big banks and these bank structures that has certain processes inside, and we have to learn how to use them. There are certain rules and how to apply for a card or for account and etc. So you have to gain knowledge. You have to educate yourself how to use these systems. So this is the next level. We have to show these people that this is the next step in the evolution, and we have to educate them how to use them the right way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I think that is a big part. And it's been mentioned already that there is sort of an element of education that you have to do as a stake pool operator. But again, we've got to find ways of doing that as a community and make that an efficient process. Because I think we can all be evangelists for Cardano and tell our mums and hope they tell our other cousins and whatnot. But they've got to come back to a source of education that is trusted and valuable, and we shouldn't all have to be doing the same process all over again. So I think as I work a lot with Gimbal Labs, which is a development team who focus on education within the space, and they do a really good job of raising developers. I think we need the same thing for every aspect of the ecosystem that we've got growing up around us. So I'd like to mention Luca. He runs a crypto hour on Fridays that is really focused on educating around macroeconomics and the impact that revitalizing our finance system will make a big difference. And then I follow on with a hands-on Cardano, how to actually make a wallet and get your funds off the exchanges and become self-sovereign, and all these lofty ideals that are actually what we're here for. That's the answer to the question. Is we want to see a different experience than we're getting from our banks, which are taking 90% of every penny we're putting in and spending it somewhere else. It can sit under the mattress and make money. So that's what we've got to educate on. And we need to get more efficient at it, I think.
Yeah, just wanted to follow on, and I don't quite completely want to let the first point that you made stand, that this is all about money. I mean, yes, you can argue everything is related to money and you can convert it into anything, because that's why we use money or crypto, whatever you want to call it, where the word comes from, I don't know. But I didn't do it directly for the money. For me, I did it because I thought there was an easy way to make some money we could use for a purpose, for a charitable purpose, for example. And, at the same time solve a matter of other issues. But at the end, if you, as a stake pool operator, you buy also your time with that money. If you don't make money, I basically make my money from my other job. There's no money from this at the moment. It costs only, but it's worth the time to spend, because we are building something. We are building a brand. From a climate neutral Cardano is sort of a brand that is known, even though from attracting delegators hasn't resolved that. I will be honest. We have been running this for 2 years and people don't join our pools because we are doing this work. Maybe because we don't communicate it very well, or it has taken literally a year and a half to see the results. And then you can take that from a good marketing point of view. You take that and say, like, now we are selling this. Or are we spending time on selling this, or are we going for the next project? Of course, from a sustainability point of view, and I mean financial sustainability initially, to maintain it, you need to maybe market it a little while to make it self-sustainable. So that's the kind of thing. So you're buying time, you're buying purpose. And I would say, though, in Cardano, a lot of people that run stake pools, they haven't done it because of the money initially. I think there are a lot of geeks, I don't know if we can call ourselves geeks as well, who love to just see how this works, how to work it out technologically. They don't need the money from this. And it wouldn't exist without people that run this for free for, I don't know how many years already. And they love it. And we do it from an environmental point of view and charitable point of view and so forth. From a sustainability, I think to grow it massively, that may be good if you make a lot of money, because then you can bring all kind of helpers in to help you deliver the whole project deliver the marketing, deliver the visuals, deliver the story, so you can just focus on the fun bits for you, right? But a single stake pool operator cannot do that. If you are, it's really hard. Partly we are CNC Alliance because we want to be just, it's that kind of conundrum. We want to be decentralized. We have 25 stake pools, well, 5 active stake pools, 5, 10 people who do the work, and right, and because we can't do it all. Or you need, you need to be an upstream pool because you have 7 friends to do it. But it's literally in your free time on the weekend you do this. And I guess you need to, it's that kind of thing. How much money do you need to earn? Do you earn it? And then it's not a hobby, it's not that much fun anymore if you have to do it for the money. But that's just something to think about.
To answer to him, because this was my exact point. I absolutely agree with you. It's not about the money. I mean, the second reason is the bigger one. Like, we are doing for the progress and for the network, not actually for the money. That was the point I was making. Yeah. So I completely agree.
Okay, so this is like funny because for an exchange, like, the saying, there's always a bigger fish, and that goes for exchanges as well. Like, I think really education is so key, and we have to not only talk the talk, we have to walk the walk. And as part of the Nordic community, I'm actually doing an SBO workshop next week, and part of the things we need to teach about is, for example, this concept of minimal attack vector, MAV. And take my exchange as an example. We have exchanges taking like 25% margins on staking. And there's people who actually they don't know how to be their own self-custodian, and there's also people who have to have a custodian because of regulation. So we hope to fill that role. And we do like 5% margins, and just to teach people about like what could you expect as a delegator and how easy it is to move your delegation. That's really key things, and we see that like with all staking pools. That's my encouragement to you as delegators. Be educated delegators. Delegate to staking pools you believe in. It's like this giant, fantastic incubator program. There's so many passionate staking pool operators doing amazing things, like the CNC Alliance. So that's my encouragement to you. Be educated delegators.
Thank you. I've got absolutely nothing to add to that because I feel like you guys covered every base, and that was a cracking conversation, to the point where I'm going to have to reduce one of the questions now because we are running out of time, and I can see lunch being put out on the tables. And so I'm just going to ask one more question, and it's related to the volatility of the crypto market. And I know, so for example, a little view behind the curtain, we outsource our server power, and we pay monthly for that, and so. But I know not everyone necessarily operates in the same way. So my question is, how does the volatility of the crypto market affect your running costs, and how do you manage this? Is your node self-sustained?
So, in the short, it's very difficult to make it viable. I think what is available is opportunities within the space to help bootstrap your pool with ADA. So, and that plays very much into whether it's effective or not based on the market's cycles that you're in. Because if you're so effectively the offer from Upstream Finance, which is a team that let you borrow ADA, stake it to your pool, and then you pay the interest back over the period of the loan. So pretty much like a typical loan, except that the loan can't be spent. The loan money can't be spent, it can only be staked. So it's it's an innovation in the space that's very cool, and we need to find ways of leveraging that. So for a stake pool operator, you can borrow 1 million ADA for 12 months, and you're budgeting then on, okay, I've got to pay the interest on that loan, which is 5.5%, and I've got to make that work over the period. And if you're taking the loan out at the top of a bull market, then when you're hitting the bottom of a bear market, suddenly you haven't, if you've got your capital ready to pay your interest at the start of it, then you've not got enough by the end of it. Whereas if you can work it the other way around, bottom of the bull and heading to a bear heading to a bull, then actually you can come in, with a much lower cost. And so the tie between the fiat world that we're still spending in and the DeFi world that we actually have all these opportunities in is a difficult one to walk, and I think we'll be doing that for a long time still. But this is all part of the education, I think. Learning the ways that we can adapt, we can stay flexible, we can, I mentioned again, we've got really bright minds building really great tools and potential for us all, and it's a matter of helping us all stay educated, because again, there's too much for everyone, one person to know everything, so it's a case of helping us each. And I know you, Martin, you'd asked about that, so I can have a conversation, we'll cover the Upstream bombs a bit, but it's a tricky one.
Yeah, the one or two things to that. I don't think borrowing money will work. Apologies for that. Just purely because from my experience, and I'm quite grateful, but we have had Cardano Foundation delegation multiple times, thanks to our work. I can tell you though, just having 1 million ADA or 15 million ADA in your account does not gain you delegators. I, as a matter of fact, have stopped applying for it, even though it can be, from a donation point of view, it's nice if you have that, because we're donating a significant amount of it. If you don't make money, you don't donate. But the key thing is, I think it comes down to hard work. If you have the money, you then have to do the engagement with the delegators, or you have to start talking to people, bring people on board. That's how you gain delegators over time. And then I think once you reach a full pool, I would argue you probably don't have to do too much. Because you basically provide the interest, the return on ADA, and there's not, I don't know how many pools there are that are really full these days, but most of the pools we know that are very heavy, they barely have to do anything and they just keep it there. They just have to run their pool correctly, but they don't necessarily have to communicate too much, which is one of the biggest workload, I believe, on the pool, specifically for running the pool. But it's really the hard work, and my experience from the Cardano Foundation, for example, and I would be worried about inventing financial instruments like the banking sector has done. Creating money out of thin air does not work. It's not sustainable. We have to be very, very careful about how we do this, because it has to come from somewhere. You don't want to be a banker, where the smartest minds are only thinking about how to create more money. That's just wrong, in my opinion. It's a cryptocurrency is on top of the blockchain, but this should not be the driver, even though I think it probably is to a degree. To find time and purpose, maybe you need money, but I strongly believe, especially in Cardano, let's not make this the driver. Let's not start inventing financial instruments that crash the market like it has happened in the real world. So that's just one of the points, and I can't offer you any good solutions other than hard work. Spend your time on it and commit, and you should be able to get there, over a year or two.
Quick in response to that. Definitely 100% agree. We've got to move away from the traditional finance markets. But there are models within that, like lending and borrowing, that have existed forever and always will exist. And so we need to onboard them somehow. And creating a business model and putting your costs around it and putting your revenues around it is something we have to learn how to do, even as stake pool operators. And so there are opportunities. We've got to create the financial instruments that we need, that we can leverage, that will work, that won't damage us as a society. And I particularly like the Upstream bonds, because you can't spend the money you've borrowed. So you're insulated from that. You're committing to the interest, but you're insulated from the risk of actually spending that 1 million ADA, which with a traditional loan, you're still at that risk. So yeah, strengths and weaknesses.
I think economic growth should be about something that's sustainable and should be about something that brings real value. So I know it's this term like real fi. I actually like it, even it's a bit cheesy. But when we can do things that actually have impact and we can measure that, then those type of projects, if they also have financial impact, that's great. But we're also doing something more and meaningful on top of that. So that's what I think is the path forward, to support as many projects as possible that brings you some real fundamental value. If it's growing trees and actually verifying that, or if it's making loans more affordable for people, then all of those things bring actual value. So I believe that will bring more economic activity into Cardano, and that will make it more sustainable to be a staking pool operator.
In short, barely financially sort of like self-sustainable. We are there. We're quite lucky. We've had a million ADA staked from IO since last year's summit. We're expecting that to go soon, as was always the case. It will make things harder, but as we were saying earlier, this is when you then start to find solutions to the problems. And yeah, we'll keep going until we have no solutions left.
Yeah, I will be the last one to answer that question about my pool. So it's not self-sustained. Actually, it has very little ADA inside delegated still, but in the future, I hope this changes. Actually, I have another job, which I do for a living, and I use the funds from there and the salary to maintain the pool. I'm an officer actually from the Bulgarian Navy with the rank of lieutenant. So this is my main job. So so the pool is not self-sustained, but I hope in the future it will be.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who took the time to sit up here and answer some questions and give their thoughts on what it's like to be a stake pool operator.
Not a little